Wild Talents, by Charles Hoyfort, Chapter 13s. One of my methods, when searching for what I call data, is to note in headlines, or in catalogs, or indexes, such clue words, or clue phrases, as I call them, as mystery solved, or an assurance that something has been explained. When I read that common sense has triumphed, and that another superstition has been laid low, that is a stimulus to me to be busy. Or that story of the drunken woman, or Whitley Bay, near Blyth, who had told of finding her sister burned to death on an unscorched bed, and had recanted. Having read that this mystery had been satisfactorily explained, I got a volume of the Blyth News. The story in the local newspaper is largely in agreement with the story in the London newspapers. Nevertheless, there are grounds for doubts that make me think it worthwhile to retell the story. The account is of two retired school teachers, Margaret and Wilhelmina Dewar, who lived in the town of Whitley Bay, near Blyth. In the evening of March 22, 1908, Margaret Dewar ran into a neighbor's house, telling that she had found her sister burned to death. Neighbors went to the house with her. On a bed, which showed no trace of fire, lay the charred body of Wilhelmina Dewar. It was Margaret's statement that so she had found the body, and so she testified at the inquest. And there was no sign of fire in any other part of the house. So this woman testified. The coroner said that he did not believe her. He called a policeman, who said that, at the time of the finding of the body, the woman was so drunk that she could not have known what she was saying. The policeman was not called upon to state how he distinguished between signs of excitement and terror and intoxication. But there was no accusation that, while upon the witness stand, this woman was intoxicated, and here she told the same story. The coroner urged her to recant. She said that she could not change her story. So preposterous a story as that of the woman who had burned to death on an unscorched bed, if heeded, or if permitted to be told, would be letting black magic, or witchcraft, into English legal proceedings. The coroner tried persistently to make the woman change it. She persisted in refusing. The coroner abruptly adjourned the inquest until April 1st. Upon April 1st, Margaret Dewar confessed. Any reason for her telling of the lie in the first place is not discoverable. But there were strong reasons for her telling what she was wanted to tell. The local newspaper was against her. Probably the coroner terrified her. Most likely all her neighbors were against her, and hers were the fears of anybody in the small town, surrounded by hostile neighbors. When the inquest was resumed, Margaret Dewar confessed that she had been inaccurate, and that she had found her sister burned, but alive, in a lower part of the house, and had helped her up to her room, where she had died. In this new story, there was no attempt to account for the fire, but the coroner was satisfied. There was not a sign of fire anywhere in the lower part of this house, but the proper testimony had been recorded. Why Margaret Dewar should have told the story that was called a lie was not inquired into. There are thousands of inquests at which testimonies are proper stories.